This is a tough spot. Should I call? Should I fold? Call. He's got it. I knew I should have folded. Why did I call? Why did I call? We've all been there, in those tough spots where you're deliberating between calling or folding. You choose one action and your opponent shows you his hands, you lose the pot, and you hate yourself for it. You're like, what an idiot. I should have known. Of course he has that hand. Of course I was beaten. Why did I do that? Before long, the mind gets very active and starts berating you for being an idiot. Why are you so stupid? How did I make such a beginner mistake? I'm better than this. Why can't I do better? All right, well, before you know it, we're in this negative frame of mind and our mind's just replaying the hand over and over. We're trying to concentrate on what's going on in front of us, but the mind's constantly replaying that mistake. For some players, that will keep running on into their personal life after they finish their session. And for some players, that even runs on to the next day and they wake up the next morning or can't sleep because this mistake's replaying in their mind. So in this video, we're going to explore how to let go of mistakes as a poker player. It's going to be part of your life for as long as you're playing. No matter how good you get, no matter how well focused you are, there's going to be times where you make mistakes. And in honesty, you need to learn to let them go. Right? You need to learn to handle them. All right, so today we're going to explore a concept which I call the inner critic and the inner coach. It's what I've taught my poker athletes for a long time, but I haven't actually shared it with you guys in a YouTube video. So I'm going to go into it today and hopefully give you guys some good advice and some good approaches to use going forward. So one mode the mind can be in is the inner critic mode. So imagine like a switch gets turned, inner critic active. So when you make a mistake, very often the inner critic gets called upon, switch flicked, and your voice gets very negative. Now, when the inner critic is active, it has different ways of speaking. Sometimes it blames other people, it blames variance, blames your opponent, it blames card distribution. Other times it blames you, blames yourself. I'm an idiot, why did I do that? Sometimes it catastrophizes. It goes, oh my God, I lost now. What was if I keep losing forever and ever? You know, I lose all my money. All right, so there's different voices that we've got to get used to. When you make a mistake, the most common one players have reported to me, I've literally had at least 50 conversations on this exact problem, but very often it's self-blame. You blame yourself for not doing better. Why did you make such a stupid error? All right, so we've got a self-blame narrative kicking on, and we've got to realize that's the mind blaming me for the situation. Now, when you blame yourself for making a mistake, does it help? Does it help your performance in the moment? We've got to say no to that, right? Because we're focusing on a hand that is gone, so it's not going to help our performance going forward. Does it allow you to learn from that mistake? Debatable, but very often not. And players often report to me, nope, their mind just goes round in circles, looping the mistake, but not actually trying to fix the problem or learn from it. All right, so very often when we make a mistake, blaming ourselves isn't helping. All right, so what we've got to do is we've got to start to fight back. We've got to start to strengthen our inner coach. All right, and the inner coach is a different switch. So imagine switch inner critic there, inner coach on the dashboards here. And once one's on, the other one gets switched off by default. So if I switch the inner coach on, I switch off the inner critic. Now, the inner coach also has different modes and different voices that it speaks in. Now, when you're trying to deal with mistakes, the ultimate, and I'm going to give you the cheat sheet first, the cheat code first. The ultimate voice that you can learn, or the ultimate inner coach dialogue, is acceptance. It's acceptance and letting go. So if you make a mistake and you're able to go, all right, I made a mistake, it sucks, but I'm okay with it. It happens. All right, it's done. You've accepted and you've let go. It's game over. If you can do that, there's nothing else to do. You can pause this, you can cancel this video, you can stop worrying about mistakes. You win, checkmate. All right, as soon as you can accept it and let go, there is no problem with mistakes. All right, there's the learning opportunity to get better from. However, because we're not very good at accepting, because you're probably struggling to accept that because you don't want to, because it hurts, we then need to move on to the other inner coach voices and the other inner coach approaches. So other things you can do once you see yourself blaming yourself, you see yourself beating yourself up catastrophize him for making the mistake. You then need to start practicing these various skills. So the first one to practice is perspective, all right? And that's putting the mistake that you've just made into the context of the bigger picture. You can put that into the context of your weekly results. It's only one mistake. It's not the end of the world. I can make a lot of money this week, this month. It's no big deal. You can put it in the context of your life overall, all right? I made a mistake at the poker tables. That's no big deal. I've got a whole life going on, which is more important than what's going on the tables. But what we're doing is we're trying to put this mistake, which often we zoom right in. We look at the mistake and go, I made a mistake. I'm an idiot. Life sucks. When in reality, if we zoom out, look from a wider lens, we can realize, all right, yep, I made a mistake. So what? Just a mistake. All right, so putting the mistake into perspective. All right, that works very well for a lot of players, and you got to practice it. It's a skill that you got to fine tune. If that doesn't work, or if that's not effective for you, we can try reframing. All right, reframing or putting things into a positive angle. All right, so when you make a mistake, we can start to frame that as an opportunity to learn from. All right, so when you make a mistake, what's the positive thing that happened? The positive thing that happened is, all right, well, at least I haven't gone bankrupt. At least I haven't lost my whole role. It was only one mistake, and I can learn from it. What's the positive I can take from that? And if you get in the habit of every time something negative happens, you feel that negative energy, you listen to that inner critic voice, and you go, wait a second, what's the positive angle? What can I take from this situation? All right, so often remind yourself you can learn from this, and that you're still in the game of life, and it's not game over. There's still hands to be played, and you can see a positive angle. Another one you can use, so the second one, the third thing you can use is goal-oriented planning. All right, so if you're someone who likes to fix things, you can't accept making mistakes because it feels like you're not making progress towards your goals. You're the type of person who will do well with using that mistake as a learning opportunity. All right, so when you make a mistake, often once you finish your session, but tag the hand in the moment, literally go straight into, okay, how can I make sure I don't make this mistake again? Was it a strategy mistake? Did I make a mistake because I didn't know the spot very well enough? Was it a mistake because I clicked too fast and I didn't think about the spot? Was it a mistake because I was feeling a certain emotion or annoyance in my opponent and I need to work on that? Let's come up with a plan how to not make that mistake again. What can I do going forward? And you go straight from the kind of frustrated feeling of the mistake into a plan so you don't make the mistake going forward. All right? So those are very, very different ways of thinking compared to the blame game, the inner critic voice, which is all about, why did I do this? I'm such an idiot. And most people, in all honesty, get stuck there for so long. All right, so your tools are to strengthen your inner coach. So I'll go through those again. So the first one, in the ultimate game over checkmate, is learn to accept. Learn to accept that you make mistakes. For my poker athletes, I get them to prime themselves going into the session to remind themselves, look, you're human. You're going to make mistakes at the tables. It's normal. You don't want to make sloppy errors, but mistakes are going to happen. And when they do, let them go. Let them go. All right, and if you can learn to accept it and you practice letting things go as they come up, that's the only skill you actually need. When you can't do that, which I know it's a challenge, and I've helped players with the many mistakes that they've made and how to overcome them, you've got to start using the other skills, which are perspective, remind yourself to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, reframing, looking for a positive you can take from this painful event, whether it's a learning opportunity or it's the fact that you're not bankrupt and there could be worse. And then planning for the future, goal-oriented thinking. How can I get better or improve so that this doesn't happen again? All right, and every time you make a mistake going forwards, start thinking about it in this way. Start watching, going, that's just my inner critic blaming me. Let's start strengthening my inner coach. Let's start improving my inner dialogue. And once we start realizing we've always got control of this, we can always choose which voice is active in our minds, and we can work ourselves for our own problems. What most people do is they try to fight their inner critic. They try to blame themselves over and over, and they hope by just using some form of willpower that voice goes away. It doesn't. We've got to work on strengthening the other inner dialogue so that we're able to overcome it. All right, guys. Hope this has helped for you. If it was, you're going to really enjoy the free PDF I put together for you, which is the 8 skills needed for elite poker performance. Today's skill goes under the realm of emotional regulation and looking at your emotions that come up and basically the inner voices that we use during various stages of our careers. And yeah, if you want to download that, click on the link in the description and I'll send that straight to your email. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash the like button before you go. There's plenty more coming from me very soon.